Now that your ring is out of the pickle bath, after 5 minutes of in the pickle bath, it's now time to form and finish your ring. And these are the tools that we are going to use. We have a chasing hammer, a mandrel, a rawhide hammer, and the files. Okay. Now we're gonna move these over. The first thing that we're gonna be doing is we're gonna take this ring, and you see that it's not circular, but we need it to be. So we're gonna put it on the mandrel, and all you're gonna do is with your hands, you're just gonna slide it down as far as it can go. And now it's actually even more round. But with the rawhide hammer is used to form metal without putting a dent in it. It has a softer edge than like a metal hammer, so it doesn't dent as much. It may dent a little, but not as much. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit it. Now, as I hit, I like to keep my grip on the mandrel, and with my thumb on the back, I like to just hit. That's what I do to hit. And then I hit it, and I'm rotating. And I keep hitting and rotating until it's round on this inside. Now the interesting thing is that this is not a straight dowel. It's conular in shape. It's shorter up here and wider down here. So if I flip this over, there's a gap right here because it's thinner up there. So what I'll need to do is I'll take off my ring, flip it, and bring it back down, and make sure that it's round on that other side also. Now, if we did this correctly, it should be the correct size, like a size 10. So it's there. Now, this is the only time we use the chasing hammer. Now, if you see right here, we have the seam. And that seam, you can kind of see it. And it may be popping out even just a little bit. So what you're going to do is with the chasing hammer, you're just going just on the seam, nowhere else. You're going to take it and you're just going to hit it on the seam. And by doing that, you compress the metal on that seam so you have less metal to file later. Okay, you compress it. So if we look now, it may be, it's hard to tell, but it's flatter. There's no ridge. Okay. We've got a perfectly circular ring, and we use the chasing hammer, the rawhide hammer, and the mallet. Now, we do not need to file this entire ring. If it doesn't need to be filed, then don't file it. We will have to file this seam. You may have to file where you put your maker's mark. But if there aren't scratches, then don't file it. But what filing does is it takes off layer by layer the different metals. So if we bring in our files, we have our green, yellow, and red files. Now these are, I just colored them, but this is a 2, and it's half round. It's flat here, and it's rounded on the other side. This is a square. It's flat on both sides, right? We went over these with the tools. Now this file is a 3, and so it's more fine, and it's the same flat and half round. And this is a 5, and these are really fine. This'll make your ring. This'll really put your final filing on it. So what we're gonna do, you don't need both of these. If you have the square, use the square on the outside. You never use the square on the inside because you can't get it. If you notice, it doesn't reach those sides. But on the round, it does because it's round also. So you only file where you need to. I only need to file right here, most of it. I can look and see if I need any more, but I'm gonna only file at the seam right now. So I'm gonna take my file in my hand, and I'm going to push. And I push, and as I'm filing, I kind of round my file off. I don't file straight like this, And the file doesn't work on the pole. You have to push it. And as I'm pushing it, you'll see it's kind of getting shinier. And that seam is getting harder and harder to tell where it's at. Okay? Now I'm going to come in on the center, or on the middle, and with that same, I'm going to push where that seam is. Now I don't want to push in too far because these edges may scratch the insides of my ring. So I just want to push just a little bit. Okay. Now I also want to smooth out these edges. These edges are really sharp. They're hard edges. So I can come by and I'll just lightly knock those edges down. You want the ring to sit really nice on your finger. You shouldn't feel it at all scratch. So on both sides, I'm just going to file. Now on the other side, on the inside, I'm going to do the same thing, only this time I'm just going to lightly hit those, knock down those edges with the half round. Just like that. Now, once I feel like there's consistent scratches, meaning I got most of those big scratches out, or the filings with on the outside and on the inside, I can move to the yellow files. Now, the yellow files impart a finer scratch, and the reds impart even finer. So after the red, I'll take some sandpaper, and with the sandpaper, I'll sand the inside. I kind of wrap it around my finger, and I'm just sanding the inside, making it completely smooth. Go on the inside and outside. Now I'm going to hit these edges. Now I missed one important step. Silver is a precious metal. So to collect the silver, we file and we sand over a black piece of paper so that we can take these filings and put them in the bone box and we can recycle them. Now, one person's filings probably aren't a lot, but over the course of the year, a lot of those filings will we recycle, and we just recycle it. Okay, I'll hit those sides. And if I need to, I'll spend a lot of time filing or sanding because it just puts a nice sand on it, a nice buff on it. And if once again, if there's areas that need to be filed out, if I go back to the red, then I can file it, file it, and then I have to go back to the sandpaper. But with the sandpaper, at this point, you shouldn't see any large, major scratches. They should all just be really fine, almost like a frosty cover of your ring. That's what that's what it should be. And you'll go back and forth, and you'll see that there's silver dust on this, which we collect. And there it is. It's ready to be polished and then domed and finished.